Some words on counting and being counted. The people are counted this week, and there's a famous commentary from Rashi that says they are counted from a place of love. Mitoch chibatan lefanav monei otam kol sha'ah. Because they were dear to him, God counts them from time to time. It reminds me of like kids with their rock collections, or actually what it really reminds me of is kids with the candies that we just threw right now. I have 10 left, I have 9 left. You know, there's a preciousness to the counting from God. And yet counting sometimes, especially censuses, can have a very impersonal quality to them, which is perhaps why Rashi comes in to make a point to say, no, this is a love flood. Because accounting can also be a kind of a depersonalization, just one number. You're just a number among many. But Rabbi Jonathan Sachs points out that the particular phrase used for counting in a census in this way, it could have been limnot, to count, or any number of other words that mean something like counting. But instead the language is se'u et rosh, kol adat b'nei Israel, to lift up the heads of each person in this. And you can even if you even like lift your head up a little bit right now and just feel the impact of that. It's like, yes, I count, I matter. There is a midrash that continues to play on this idea of us being beloved to God through this counting. And it picks up on another detail of the counting, which is that the children of Israel were arrayed under banners, under flags, degel. That's the word for it is degel. And the midrash says, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Haviv hu alai, v'daglu alai ahava, v'dilgu alai ahava. God said, he is beloved to me, and his flag is beloved to me, and his skipping is beloved to me. Now what the midrash is doing, and midrash, by the way, ancient fan fiction, midrash is filling in all of the gaps that the Torah didn't quite get to. And it also does a lot of play. The midrash plays, and so it's playing with the word degel and switching it to dilug, which means skipping. So from flag to skipping. Because it can. That's why it does that. And it says, even when we're skipping, we're beloved to God. Even when we're skipping, it gives the example when we're sitting down to learn Torah and our mind is skipping all over the place and we can't even stay on one halacha. We're skipping from one law to the next. That too is beloved to God. You might know this experience of your mind wandering. Perhaps you've been in class sometime and felt your mind skip from thing to thing. Not in my class particularly, but I imagine in all of your other classes you've had that experience. Maybe this morning at some point you found yourself a little unfocused. And that too is beloved to God. The Sfat Emet, the 19th century Hasidic commentator, takes the word skipping to a whole new level, and he says, sometimes we are able to skip up from the spiritual level we're on, skip up to a higher spiritual level. And so the idea behind this is this kind of Hasidic, in the Hasidic imagination, our spiritual journey is one that exists on these madrigot, these levels or these rungs. And over the course of our lives and our spiritual practices, prayer and meditation and acts of mitzvot that we do in the world and ways that we serve other people, we are able to reach higher and higher levels. It's like leveling up in a video game. You know, as we come to certain moments where we are able to level up. And yet, it's not totally linear and progressive. Because the nature of this leveling up is ratzo v'shov, that it ebbs and flows, that it runs and returns. That maybe this is kind of a period in our life where we're like on this level, but within that, there's a ton of variation. There's days when, because what's up? Up is full connection and understanding of God in every moment, in and through everything. So if we're in a place where we know that everything is one, and that God is one, and we are part of that, and so is everybody and everything, and every space and every time, and every intention, that's the highest level you can be. And the lowest place is when we forget. When we feel isolated, when we feel alone, when we feel separate, when we're not sure what our purpose is. That would be a low place. And we go through that every day. We go through versions of that every day. We're not steady on one level. And yet, says this Sfat Emet, sometimes we're able to skip up to a higher level than we're even accustomed to getting to. And this to me is so intriguing because the skipping, that particular image, implies that it happens quite quickly. It's like in the amount of time it takes to jump up into the air and fall back down again. there can have been a moment of true connection. And if spiritual language doesn't quite cut it for you, you might also just think about any kind of wholesome quality that you're going towards. Like happiness, I want to be happy. I want to be less worried in my life. And so you're kind of working on that in yourself and looking for ways that that shows up in the world. Looking for the places you're a little happier, looking for the places. And so often I think what we look for is these like big, grand things. Huge spiritual experiences. Or some lasting, I had this whole month where everything was amazing. And the Savad Emet is implying here with the skip that it's like, it could be so small, the moment that you're actually looking for. And what would it change if instead we started looking for those moments? Not the big, grand, epic, mystical, magical experiences, but like a moment of feeling at ease with friends hanging out, or wowed by a tree blooming in the spring. We want moments to last, of course we do. These beautiful moments, these more wholesome moments, but what if they don't? And what makes us think that a small moment isn't a spiritual peak as well? If we start looking for tiny moments, how much higher might we be able to skip? Shabbat Shalom.